April 27th, 2018.
God of War. This is Nerd Bourbon episode 47. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
Just like jump right into it. Fucking God of War, Todd. We got some other shit to talk about before we do our God of War special, though. What do we got this week? Lay it out in front of me, Todd. Like a fucking... Tell you what. Pretend like I am sitting at a table. You've just tucked a bib into my shirt. You've prepared me a warm glass of milk. You have pressed and ironed the tablecloth in front of me. What do we got this week?
I like how how much detail you're going into there. I'm honestly like drawing a blank of what the hell we were going to talk about before God of War.
That's hilarious. Two things. First up, we wanted to talk about some Overwatch. We wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah.
We wanted to talk about your sort of you finally got a chance to play Brigette.
And yeah, I can talk about that for a while, cause. So yeah, we it was like a couple days ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we finally jumped on Overwatch for like the first time since like Brigette came out, like, and it was the first time I was actually able to play her in an actual game.
In a real game, yeah.
Because I again, like every time I have it on PC and I jump on the PTR, but I never jump in a game on the PTR because I don't care. I just want to see like how the character feels in like the training area or some shit. So that doesn't really do doesn't give it. It's not really a thing. You don't really care.
Right.
So, actually, finally playing with her, that's my character right there. That's my support character. Like it kind of like that character like clicked with me like instantly, and it's funny. Is like I knew the character would click with me because it's like her like how she plays and like what she does as a character. I was like I've always thought Overwatch would like benefit from, like a basically a paladin.
Right.
And I love it. It's so good. I
like that. We were kind of like we were talking yesterday. Kind of, it's so funny because like we love Overwatch. We really do. Like Overwatch is a great game. We don't play it as much as we want to, but like now we're kind of like getting back into it a little bit, and we were actually kind of formulating like strategies a little bit, talking about how Brigitte is like she's really really good, but like she's almost like an off heal because She can support just fine, and her shield and stuff like that like helps a lot. But like, you don't want her to be like your main healer,
No, she like actually playing with Brigette, like the thing with her is like she's really good in a pinch. Like she's really good like because she can be in the fight with you guys, like not unlike most supports.
Right.
So like I kept like during a lot of the games, I was keeping a lot of you guys alive, just quickly throwing out the repair pack, like, and just while I was still fighting, and like doing the shield bashes and shit. Like, she's really good at it in that sense. So like, because at that point you could have like a like a Zenyatta or like a Mercy kind of chilling in the back while I'm in the thick of shit,
Well, and we were talking about too like that fine line between like. It's not just called a healer class; it's called a support class.
Exactly.
And she is the ultimate definition of a support character, not just a healer character. Yeah. I'm glad that you like her. It's funny because after you started playing as her, you're like, well, you don't have to play support. You don't have to be stuck on support ever again.
Yeah, it's on some real shit, dude. Like I think my first game I got play of the game.
Yeah, and we've like already been like just kind of like talking about like strategies and like team compositions and stuff like that, and it's kind of nice, like in a weird way, like just by virtue of like A, that character, and B, like our friend Scotty like getting the game, like it's really kind of breathed new life into it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Where it's kind of nice to actually like get into Overwatch again.
Yeah.
I feel like every like 5 or 6 months we just kind of like rekindle the Overwatch flame.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
like we'll play it for like maybe a couple, like maybe like a month or so, then never like
Yeah,
go
and
on
then
a
just
long break again.
go back to that
But
cycle of just dropping money on skins and that's it.
oh Lord, we drop money on skins like it's no one's business.
I don't even want to confront that number.
I don't either.
I don't want to know how much money I've spent on that game. I really don't.
It's terrible.
But yeah, I don't think there's too much more to say about it. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to express your Brigette love for a second.
Oh, it's my new support man.
Oh, yeah. This is gonna be kind of a shorter episode, which I think we're both kind of okay with because the past 2 episodes that we've done have been long as shit. So this episode is probably gonna wind up being a little bit shorter than normal, but that's okay. There's one more thing that I wanted to get to before we get into our main topic. Do you hear that? Wait a minute. Do you hear it, Todd?
No.
It's soft, but I think I can make it out. It's a Destiny update.
Oh God.
It's been a while since we've done one of these, Todd, but there's cause for a Destiny update today. Today was the reveal stream for the new Warmind expansion.
I actually did. I forgot about that. I forgot that was happening though.
Well, allow me to update you, Todd. So the Warmind expansion, this is the second expansion for Destiny 2. It's coming out on May 8th, actually really fucking soon, in like 2 weeks. I think it's in like 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks from now. It'll be out. They're doing some interesting shit that I actually am pretty excited about.
Okay.
Which is not something I thought I would say. So story-wise, we've already kind of known it takes place on Mars. Kind of in the ice caps of Mars, though, so it's got like the environment's very like snowy, which is interesting. The new enemies are a hive variant, like a frozen hive variant. They've got obviously the standard shit, the new public events, new strikes, new story involving Anna Bray. I didn't realize that Anna was short for Anastasia Bray, which is funny because that's my fiance's name. The very interesting thing though is this new thing that they've added called escalation protocol. This is something that you and I have been talking about for a long time with Destiny. Where's my Court of Oryx or Prison of Elders style thing? This is it. So
Beautiful.
Escalation protocol essentially is a public event style thing like Court of Oryx where anybody can start it up and people can just join. But it's like a horde mode style thing where you have 7 increasing waves, each one having a mini boss at the end of it that gets harder and harder, and it has exclusive gear tied to it that actually looks really interesting and fun. And at the very end of it, there are going to be exclusive, like kind of like ultimate, like kind of end bosses. That there are 5 total, and every week they're going to rotate which boss, and the bosses drop exclusive loot as well. Which is really interesting. There's actually an entire exclusive armor set tied to Escalation Protocol. There are 2 exclusive weapons, one of which looks like a really interesting shotgun. It's like basically 4 Horsemen 2.0. It looks really fucking interesting, and one of them is like a sniper that's kind of got kind of reminds me of Black Spindle a little bit, which makes me happy. So yeah, it's a really neat idea, and if you watch the gameplay of it, like it looks fucked up, like it looks fucking like frenetic and crazy, and people wanted something that they could just kind of like turn their brains off, and just grind out shit, and I think Escalation Protocol is really gonna scratch that itch. And I think that's something that Destiny kind of needs, And I honestly, I could see us getting into it. I could see that being something that we play. Because, we would all the time just chill and do Court of Oryx or Prison of Elders, So I think the game is finally giving us something like that with Escalation Protocol. They didn't touch on the new strikes, which worries me because that makes me feel like they're going to pull that same bullshit they did with Curse of Osiris, where they just basically repackage story missions as strikes.
I really hope they don't do that, because that shit's so weak.
I hope they don't do that too, but I'm worried. I feel like that's what they're going to do. They showed off the emote wheel, which is launching with it, finally.
Oh, fucking beautiful.
They didn't show it, but there's going to be a new raid layer, which is another bummer for me. I'm like, I'm done with the raid layers. Give us full raids. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of where I'm at, honestly. We still didn't even do the that first raid layer.
No, because I don't care to.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, give me a full raid and I'll come for it. You know, like Leviathan is the only full raid that we have for Destiny 2. The game's been out for like a year and a half now. You know? Longer than that.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah, it'll be 2 years in September.
Shit.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's like, fuck, man, like the game's been out for a long time, and there's only been one raid, really. I mean, the raid layers, that's a cool idea, blah, blah, blah. But to me, it's like the raid layers should be, like, things that are introduced in, like, patches. For full expansions, give me a full-on raid. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree with that.
Like, make it so that, you know, you have a, you know, kind of in between expansions, you have a patch that introduces a kind of smaller raid layer.
Yeah, it's just kind of like to trickle out some, like, content for people that actually still play that game.
Yeah, but I mean, even before Taken King ever came out, you know, and it's heavily, like, the big Taken King kind of expansion is probably going to be coming in September for this thing. And so, like, I understand you got the smaller expansions out of the way, your kind of House of Wolves and stuff out of the way now. Yeah. But even still, before Taken King came out, we had Vault of Glass and Crota's End. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, all we have right now is Leviathan and now 2 raid layers. That's it.
Now, just to be blunt, Crota's End is a glorified strike.
Well, it is comparatively, but, like, back then...
I know,
like, back when it first came out, that was, like, a big deal, you know? But Crota's End is kind of a glorified strike in the grand scheme of things, but that was the baby steps, right?
Yeah.
They had to start somewhere, you know? So I don't know. I'm not even saying that they all need to be as, like, complicated as Leviathan, because I know raids have got to be extremely hard to design, but, like, just adding raid layers to me is not enough, and like, recycling story missions for strikes is not enough. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, man. Like, strike, like, I used to love just Destiny 1, just jump on and just do, like, jump in a strike playlist and just chill, you know?
Yeah.
Can't do that because, like, one, I'm not a big fan of the strikes in this game for the most part, and like, it's just not even worth it. I really just want, like, some, like, really unique and interesting, like, strikes to do, but those are not a thing in Destiny 2.
Now, here's the deal, though. So this stream really focused on 2 things. It focused on Escalation Protocol, and it focused on PvP.
Of course, PvP, everybody apparently loves PvP.
Yeah, PvP actually is... They're doing some cool shit with PvP. I don't know if this perk is specific to PvP or not, but they're adding a new perk called Desperado. And it's interesting because it feeds into the Outlaw perk, where precision kills boost your reload speed. Well, Desperado boosts your fire rate while Outlaw is active. So, basically, whenever you get a precision kill, you're going to get reload speed increase and fire rate increase. Okay. If you have a weapon that has Outlaw and Desperado. Like, that's going to be fucking insane. You're just going to be a monster with a weapon that has both of those. They're adding, they're changing up exotic weapons in some really interesting ways. Fucking Skyburner's Oath looks like it's going to be filthy. Like, dude, like, I'm probably going to be... Well, so they change it up. So, you know, the whole deal is, like, kind of like fast fire from the hip, slower, more precise aim down sights. Well,
yeah,
they made the rounds explosive rounds, first of all.
Good shit.
So they're explosive rounds now, but they also made it so that the hip fire ammo, like when you're firing from the hip, are target seeking rounds. So
Ooh.
so you're kind of like just jumping around like an idiot, just kind of blind firing, and your targets, you're hitting your targets like.
See, I'd actually use it at that point. Because, like, other than that, because, like, Skyburner's Oath, like, just, like, normally, like, the only use it really has is, like, taking down phalanxes. That's about it.
Dude, like, it looks fucking mean. Like, they're showing some gameplay of it. That's the one that's been changed the most significantly. The other ones are kind of, like, smaller scale changes. But, like, that one
I'd still like to
really...
hear 'em.
Yeah. Graviton Lance, apparently, they made it a 2-shot burst now. And they severely increased the damage on it.
Well, I think that kind of was needed because, like, the Graviton Lance was kind of weak.
Crimson now has more ammo.
Good. That was needed.
And they made it so that the 3-round burst, 3 headshots is a kill. So like if you're getting 3 shots to the head, like with your burst, like that's a kill. You know.
See, that just makes me happy because like that was actually my biggest thing with like Crimson, is like you'd run through your ammo pretty quick.
Yeah, they've increased the ammo on that. There's a whole swath. They said that almost every exotic weapon has had a pass where they have tweaked it and made it more powerful.
Really?
Basically. And they said something that I liked where they were saying that like there hasn't really been like OP weapons in Destiny 2 yet, like how people used to use like Thorn and shit like that. It was Thorn, wasn't it? The one that fucking in Destiny 1?
Yeah, that's the one that was like PvP central and you'd get your ass rocked because it burned you or poisoned you or whatever the hell.
I just couldn't remember if I had the name of it wrong. Yeah.
You're right.
Like they were saying that people kind of miss like how in Destiny 1 like there's really no OP weapons in Destiny 2, and they kind of miss the rough edges of like Destiny 1 where people were trying to like still figure shit out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to go back to that.
The closest thing to like the closest feeling we've ever had with that is like the Prometheus lens before they nerfed it into the ground.
Yeah, so they're trying to kind of like go back to that a little bit, it sounds like. So I don't know, man. Like I'm looking forward to Warmind. I think that this fucking new mode, this escalation protocol, I think this has the potential to be something that we actually go back to and fuck around with and just kind of turn our brains off and do. But I don't know. I'm still a little bit disappointed. Like I still kind of want more from Destiny, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I would have waited longer for an even bigger expansion that really gave the game a shot in the arm, you know? But you know, I'm still gonna definitely check it out. I'm still gonna hop on and see what the deal is, you know?
Yeah.
That's about all that that they showed off in this reveal stream, and they showed off the intro like cinematic to it and everything with Anna Bray, but that's about it. You didn't miss a whole lot. Anyway, Todd, the main thing we have to talk about this week, God of War. Todd, this game's real good.
Real good is an understatement.
It's a very good video game.
That's still an understatement.
It's a very, very good video game.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I think the first time that we went like a couple days without talking, and then when we finally did, like the first thing you said is like, Seth, why is God of War so good? You've beaten the game now.
Yep.
I have not. I'm still pretty early on. I just haven't had the time, but I'm kind of taking my time and going through it slow anyway. I doing my side missions, you know. But give us your thoughts. What's your hot takes?
As it is known, I am Todd, good combat Sturgill.
Oh, this game has some good combat.
Oh, you don't even know. Not yet. Like when you have like all the skills and like you're just switching seamlessly between like the fighting styles and shit. Oh, it arouses me.
Yeah,
the combos.
It's good. I mean, even early on, it's good. Like even really from the get go, like it feels so much more like. I know a lot of like diehard fans of the series have been like really worried about that. You know, like oh, is it still gonna be fun to play? Like, is it still gonna maintain that arcadey kind of feel? And I think the game finds a really good way, like a really good balance between it. It does feel arcadey still, but it still has that weighty kind of Dark Souls like combat.
Yeah, like the whole like evasive, like being able to dodge and shit like that.
Yeah,
Like
and
that shit
parry.
all feels good, honestly. Like everything about the combat feels good,
Yeah,
and it's like I think we talked about it, like where it's like it's a little bit floaty, but it's also heavy, and it's just like it makes no sense. It shouldn't feel as good as it does, but it just fucking does.
yeah. The only sort of misgiving that I have about it, and I don't know if you can turn it off. You probably can. I just haven't looked. The little ring that's around Kratos that like tells you where the enemies are and stuff.
You can, dude. You can go into your HUD. You can turn all that.
Yeah,
shit off.
yeah. I'm sure you can. I might need to. I just find it a little bit weird that it's like on by default. I'm like, this is a little.
Yeah,
know?
I mean, honestly, it's funny is like later on you really don't need that because you kind of have I'm not gonna say it, but there's a thing that will tell you like, watch out, like shit like that.
Right. Well, and that's kind of already a thing. I already find myself ignoring it because like Atreus, your son will be like, oh, on your left, oh, one more or whatever.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They make it to the point where like I think even like somebody I forget who somebody told me is like one of the best ways to play is just to put it on like immersive mode where like the HUD's just completely off.
Yeah, like I respect that they did. I almost wish that they had taken the opposite angle with it, where you are on immersive mode by default and you can turn on that shit if you find it being a problem for you. But yeah, it's a very very minor. Like all of my issues with this game are nitpicks.
In my personal opinion, like the HUD's not that intrusive, so like, it never really bothered me.
I don't find it intrusive, but it's a little bit like intrusive is the wrong word. I don't want it to sound like it's like dampening my experience or something because it's not. I'm just a little bit like I just wish that they had doubled down on the call-outs from like Atreus and really made it because you have to be pretty focused in the combat, especially as combat ramps up in difficulty. Like and I almost wish that they had made it. If they had doubled down on needing the callouts from Atreus and stuff like that, like you would have had to be even more present in the moment to focus on enemy placement and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll agree with that actually, because that is a very good point.
Because like I do like it how he'll warn you if like projectiles are coming and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, like you still got that flashing red arrow like around his waist. Again, very nitpicky.
Yeah.
All of my problems with the game are very nitpicky. Like fucking another little nitpick I have is it's like a little bit Kratos' whole like demeanor is a little bit annoying to me. Like how I'll be going to do a side mission and Kratos' whole thing is like, I'm not doing an errand for some dwarf. And like I'm like, yeah, you are. I'm like, it's kind of exactly what you're doing. I'm controlling you, bro. Like we're doing this. And he's just like, no, I'm only doing it because it'll help our mission. I'm like, that's kind of bullshit.
It'll be good training for you, boy.
Yeah. His foghorn leghorn ass. Every time he says boy, that's what I think of. I'll say, boy. I'll say.
Like it's funny as shit to me. Is like there's every time you find a lore marker, it's like boy.
I say, boy, go read that runic text, boy.
But you know what was really funny is I don't know if you've gotten to this point. It's not really a spoiler because it's just like the kid kind of gives him shit for it.
Yeah, I've had that happen already, where he's like you only fucking talk to me and you want me to read some shit.
It's like boy. It's like
there are some good moments though. Like I like the good I like kind of the characterization moments. Like the writing is so good. like between Kratos and Atreus. Like, well, just really just all around. The writing is like super good. The dialogue writing, it's like it's like Valve quality good. It's like really good writing. Like, there's this moment. I'm sure you had this happen too. And this is not really. First of all, I guess I should say, if you're one of those people who's like an asshole about spoilers, where like every little thing is a spoiler, you should probably go ahead and turn this off, because we're not going to spoil anything explicit. I'm still pretty early on in the game, so I literally can't spoil anything explicit. But if like hearing dialogue moments like this is gonna like trigger you, you should probably tune out. So I guess minor spoiler warning. I had this moment where I was in the boat on the Lake of the Nine or whatever with Atreus, and he was like, do you know any stories to pass the time? And he's like, there was Kratos is like, there was a sailor I knew once that told me a story of a tortoise and a hare. He's like, did you get that moment?
Yeah, dude, that's basically one of the first times he starts telling a story.
It's so good. Yeah. He's like the hare was sure of himself and fast. The turtle was sturdy and steadfast. The turtle won and the hare lost. Just tells the story in like a single sentence, basically.
Well, that's kind of like the best part. Like every time like Kratos kind of tells a story, it's like this simple bullshit.
It's pretty great. Yeah, I just love all those little dialogue bits. And to the game's credit, like when I was talking about like doing the side missions and stuff, and how he says like, oh, I'm not doing this bullshit for this person. Like, it is kind of nice how even they've worked in the side missions to even include these sort of like father-son relationship, you know? Because I did the one where you have to go into kind of like the mines and find like that green ring that ends up being on like an ancient one's back or whatever.
Yeah.
And like it was nice how like that ended up being like a thing where he's like, well, we found the ring, we're not going to fight it, right? And Chris is like, oh, we're fighting it. And he's like, why? And he's like, because you're afraid of it.
That's the thing. I love. That's like one of my favorite parts about the game is just the relationship between Kratos and his son. It's good. It's good shit.
Yeah, it's definitely just the writing, and I don't think, coming into this, and I'm sure we'll touch on this game several times throughout. This is just kind of preliminary thoughts.
Yeah.
We'll touch on this game several times in the coming weeks because, like I said, I'm taking my time. I'm probably going to be playing this game for like the next month. Honestly,
oh, dude, here's the thing. I'm still playing it. I'm doing like this like the other realm shit.
Yeah. It's there's the game though is. I'm trying to dance around it a little bit because I don't want to spoil. I think the less you know about this game, the better. But the game is surprising in so many ways that I did not expect. It is like, coming into the game, I expected it to have a good story. I expected it to have a good like father-son relationship. I expected it to basically be like the Last of Us-ification of God of War a little bit. And it isn't just that. It still feels true to God of War. With the combat like we've talked about and stuff like that. But
I read an article. It took bits and pieces of certain games and it made its own thing.
Well, yes, it did, but then it also did another amazing thing where it took pieces from other games that of this type and got rid of the bullshit. Like, you're not doing like fetch quests, like all of the side missions are worth doing, Oh
yeah, definitely.
All of the exploration stuff is worth doing. You're not sitting there doing grindy, fetchy bullshit. Everything feels very polished in that way. Like, this game, I have to imagine, was just... And I was telling you this. I was like, I can't believe it only took them 5 years to make this game. Like, 5 years is a long time to make a game, but, like, I can't believe it took them only that long to make this game. Because this game, and I'm sure this is true as I get further, but, like, already is just enormous in scope. And does nothing but get bigger and more surprising. And, like, the depth of the mechanics. Because this game, I mean, you could kind of say that like the old games are action RPGs, but not really. This one is a full on RPG.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like there are skills, there is leveling, it's not just I'm getting these weapons. I mean,
there's a gear, there's an equipment like
there's
thing. You
crafting.
don't need to worry about like your enhancements, your fucking runic attacks. There's a lot of shit going on in this game.
There is
I think
a lot of
handles
depth.
it well. Like
yeah, just a shit ton of depth in this game. Like it's absurd. Like, and that's the thing. You play a lot of these games where it's like a mile wide and an inch deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I think I used that terminology when Fallout 4 came out. I love Fallout 4. There's a whole lot of space and not enough to do in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like,
yep.
and like God of War makes the most out of every inch of the space it gives you, and that's what's so impressive about it. I mean, it's really, I think the discourse about the game has been so appropriate, where like people are, giving it these glowing reviews and saying it's one of the PS4's best games. It's, it's very well deserved. Like I said, my thoughts about it are kind of scattered, because I'm very early on still, and I'm just kind of like I just have the stars in my eyes from God of War.
The thing the thing with me is like it'll be harder for me to put my thoughts in because I might accidentally give some spoilers.
Yeah, we might, after a couple of weeks have passed and I've beaten the game and stuff like that, we might do like a spoiler kind of review of it a little bit, just kind of give final thoughts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I just, initial impressions of God of War are extremely strong. I'm really, really loving it so far. Every spare moment that I get when I'm not, working or sleeping or doing adult stuff or doing stuff with the podcast or doing stuff with D&D, like, it's God of War. Mm-hmm. Like, God of War is pretty much my main game right now. And I'm really enjoying it. I just want to say again that, like, I really hope that this game does well. I really hope that the positive buzz around this game sells copies of it, because I want this game to be rewarded. Mm-hmm. I know that the team at Sony Santa Monica has really worked hard on this game, and it reminds me of Horizon a little bit, because like, Guerrilla made the Killzone games and stuff like that, and they're fine, they're good. But then they made Horizon, and you're like, oh shit, this is what you can do? That
is kind of like, I actually was having that conversation with somebody at my old job recently. Like, we were talking about Horizon. I basically said, I'm like, I can't believe that game was made by the motherfuckers that made Killzone.
Yeah, because like Killzone's fine, but it's nothing.
It's a fine game, but they were just never like my thing. But Horizon is like, what the shit?
Yeah, it's like, what? Holy shit! You had this in you this entire time. That's kind of how I feel about this, where it's like the old God of War games. They're great. I love them. But then I'm playing this, and I'm like, holy shit, you could do this whole time?
Mm-hmm.
Like, God of War is unbelievably good. Like, the word I keep coming back to is unbelievable. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
I said this to you yesterday, or 2 days ago. Is like, the last time I felt something similar to this was with Uncharted 4. Like, I was like, it annoyed me with how good it looks. But this game, it annoys me with how good it is.
Yeah, just every piece of it is polished to a mirror sheen. The combat is fantastic. The story is fantastic. It looks amazing. Like, just graphically, it looks amazing. Mm-hmm. The scope of it is crazy. The fact that when you do the initial load and turn on the game, there's no more loading. It's all in one take. Like, if you start up the game and you somehow power through and play through it in one sitting and you never die, you will never see a loading screen.
Yep.
That's crazy. So, I mean, like, just, the game's unbelievable. I can't believe it from a narrative perspective, from a writing perspective, from a technological perspective, from a design perspective. It is unbelievable. And that's my initial impressions of God of War.
That is, I think that's kind of the perfect thing to say about it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I like I said, we'll come back in future episodes and we'll have more succinct thoughts. But this week we just kind of wanted to bang out a quick little episode, give you a little taste of some Overwatch stuff that we've been playing lately. Give you a little Destiny update for Warmind coming out, which I'm sure we're going to talk more about in the future whenever that comes out, and give you our initial thoughts on God of War. Yeah, you can expect to hear a lot more about this game from us.
It's crazy for me because I never really played the original God of Wars ever.
Right.
And like this, again, it really just boils down to like this is definitely just my cup of tea. Like it is more of like that Dark Soulsy like action RPG sort of thing.
Yeah, and I was telling you, I think you could still go back to the old ones and enjoy them.
Honestly, I honestly wouldn't mind. Like I have because they have all of them on PS3, right?
Yeah, the original, they have all of the like 1, 2, 3 and the PSP games are on PS3.
See, I have my PS3. I definitely could sit there and actually like go back and play those.
Yeah. I mean, you could.
But would I?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, like it's, they're worth playing. They're all very good, but like you got to dust off the PS3.
That's the thing with me is like I know the entire story of like God of War, like so that's like it never really bothered me with like I was like watching it on YouTube and shit. Like, I've seen the entire like story of it.
Yeah, I mean and that's fine. Like you don't really play those games for the story anyway, though. Like I think they're just fun experiences.
Yeah, you definitely don't. It's more of just like that. Just yeah.
This one is the one where it's
you play for the story.
Yeah, this is the one that you play for the story. The other ones, it's like the story's kind of ancillary.
It's like they're in the background, yeah.
The story is, I'll tell you the story of God of War. It's Ares, and then it's Zeus. That's the story of God of War right there.
There you go. That's good shit.
Anyway, you guys have been listening to Nerd Bourbon. If you had a good time listening to us, give you a brief God of War review, initial impressions. Why don't you guys go ahead and throw us a follow or a sub on whatever service you're listening to us on. If there's a service we are currently on that you want us on, let us know so we can make it happen. If you got any questions, thoughts, comments, or concerns, please leave them for us. You might get it right on the show. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdbourbon. We are at nerdbourbon on Twitter and Twitch. Beyond that, the best and only way for us to grow is if you tell your friends. Thank you guys so much for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Boy!
God damn it. See ya. I was actually going to do that. You bitch. See ya.